Hello, everybody. Today, we will be talking about the relevance of clapping hands and saying thank yous to our frontline soldiers in our fight against coronavirus. I'm talking about doctors, nurses, paramedics, and all those people who are out there in the open fighting coronavirus on the ground. I'm not referring to our policymakers, our leaders who are just issuing directions. So this video is only about those people who are really fighting in every sense of the term against coronavirus. No matter where you go, maybe it's mainstream media, news channels, social media, Facebook posts, tweets on Twitter, or maybe your WhatsApp messages, everybody is coming forth and saying thank you to our real-time heroes, our doctors and nurses and all those people. It seems that clapping hands and saying thank you has become new currency with which our system is paying our frontline soldiers. Now, many will make the mistake of thinking that the question here is this: whether we are doing enough for our frontline heroes or not. No, the question is not this. In fact, if we delve into this question more, that whether clapping hands and saying thank you is enough, we are trying to do more harm to the future of these people for good. And that's not what we want. The question that we are trying to ponder over is something else. And that is that we have to get into the very meaning of these gestures that are being engaged into by our system these days. You must have noticed that it's not normally the people who start these things. It's the people at a very high level, those people who govern everything, and also those people who stand at the top of the economic pyramid. So it's the leaders, it's the policymakers, it's the big business houses and their CEOs who come up with these gestures. So in fact, on news channels or their personal posts or their tweets, they will start saying that these people like doctors and nurses and paramedics and others who are out there have become very relevant to our society today. And that's why we would like to extend our gratitude to these people. But does that help in the contemporary systemic sense? It doesn't. Suppose if there was no coronavirus and we were living in kind of normal times, would the system accept thank yous and clapping hands in lieu of something that they ought to be doing or it ought to be doing for those people? And by those people, I mean the poor, the middle class, and the oppressed. No. For example, if a person is sick, that person goes to pharmaceutical shop, which is representation of system in general, and clap hands and say thank you. Would pharmaceutical shop be giving that person medicine that is protected by IPRs, and that's why the price of the medicine is very high? No, it wouldn't happen. For example, those students who have taken education loan for their studies, if they go to the banks and say thank you and clap their hands in appreciation of an expectation that banks, hearing that thank you and clapping of hands, will write off their loans. No, banks won't do that. Those people who have been sold the American dream, and by American dream I do not mean the typical American dream, I mean that dream which has been sold to people that their lives will become better. If those people start clapping their hands and saying thank you to the system, will system literally go out of the way in trying to make them realize their dreams? No, it doesn't happen that way. Those people who are begging on streets, if they go to the system and clap their hands and say thank you, will the system come forward and try to make sure that they will never have to search trash cans for food and they will have a roof over their heads when it's too hot outside or when it's too cold outside, and they wouldn't be homeless or destitute anymore? No, it doesn't work like that. So why does it happen that during these times all those people who stand at the top of the hierarchy, social hierarchy, they start coming up with these novel or new ways of appreciating the efforts which is being done by everybody at the lower level of that social hierarchy? And the answer is this: they do those things because they cannot repay back those people in any other way. And as I have told you in many of my videos before, that's because the system doesn't have the capacity to do that, because the system has not been designed to do that. And that's why, in order to hide that behind the veil of romanticism and symbolism, these things come to the forefront. Now the question is this: if those people who stand at the top of the social hierarchy, that have the responsibility to do something for everybody else in the society through policies, not from their own pockets, if those people are doing these things like clapping hands or telling everybody else to do that and saying thank yous to our real heroes, then why other people who stand at the lower level of the social or economic hierarchy, why do they engage in such activities? And the reason is very simple. If you look at the way everything is being run, if you look at the dynamics of our society, you will realize that most of the people are there in the society just to consume everything. And when I say consume everything, I would like to tell you that it's not only the material aspects of life that they are consuming. For example, bottle or cars or traveling. They are also consuming every other aspect of life that is thrown down onto them from the top, because they want to be at the top one day, and their aspiration forces them to consume everything that is considered to be the most acceptable norm of the society. In a society, what's acceptable is not decided by everybody. It's decided by those who are at the top of the society. So that's why those people who form the lower part of the social strata or the economic strata of the society, they are left with no other option, because they do not have the luxury to engage in any institutional analysis, as they are too busy consuming stuff, which means tangible and intangible stuff. That's why they will also consume this idea that we have to come forward and join this realm of romanticism and symbolism and keep saying thank you and clapping hands. We have to keep clapping our hands so that we can do something pseudo productive for those people who are out there fighting the coronavirus. Now, those people who are fighting the coronavirus are also not doing that because they have a special regard for humanity. No, it's their job. So it will be very unfair on their part if we try to romanticize that aspect as well. So unfortunately, everybody is playing their role in an economic system. Those people are working because they are getting paid. Of course, it's too much risk for them, and that's why those people who stand at the top of the economic pyramid, they try to romanticize it so that those people who are already working in those positions lower there, down there, they do not think anything negative and they keep on doing their work, because influence of that romanticism is too much and it's very difficult to get out of it, because now everybody is hoping them to be more responsible because they have already clapped and said thank you to these people. Now, many people will say that I'm undermining the work being done by our frontline soldiers like doctors, nurses, and paramedics. And I would say that no, I'm not undermining it. I'm just reiterating the way system is working. Those people are out there working because it's their job, being doctors, to save the humanity. I wish we could romanticize in real sense, but that's not the way it works. Why? Because in normal life, those people, despite the fact that they save humanity, they save human lives, they get paid less than movie stars. They get paid less than sportsmen. And that is the reality of our society. Now this time, the top part of the economic pyramid is trying to sell these people to the ideas of Romanticism and symbolism, in fact, thereby putting more responsibility onto their shoulders that, look, you guys are out there trying to save human lives, which was in fact, but now it's not only your job, you are doing it to save the humanity. So in addition to it being their job, now they have to carry one more burden, and that burden is articulated by the mainstream public discourse as something that is larger than life. If it is larger than life now, it should have always been larger than life. And that's why they should have been paid more during normal times as well. But that's not. So you have to understand the dynamics, how the system's top, I'm not referring to those people as individuals. I'm just saying that we have to understand how the top of an economic pyramid tries, not only in very explicit and clear ways, they try to manipulate the lower by engaging in other activities as we just talked about. So the thank yous and clapping of hands are hollow. Why? Because this economic system of which those people are also a part, they are not treated properly during normal times, and now it's treating them worse. If we want to make sure that those people are respected who save human lives when the times will be normal, we have to make sure that the system takes care of them even then as well, and not by using mere words or futile physical gestures like clapping hands, but by making sure that their lives are safe, their lives are more comfortable. Thank you so much.